We are going to begin our study of Chapter 9 in Social Studies today. It is called The Greek World. There are 4 sections, as you can see here. At the beginning, as always, are the songs and the raps. I encourage you to go back and listen to those as it will help you learn the material. So today we have Lesson 1, Greece and Persia. The big idea for today: over time, the Persians came to rule a great empire, which eventually brought them into conflict with the Greeks. The 3 main ideas: Persia became an empire under Cyrus the Great. The Persian Empire grew stronger under Darius the First. And the Persians fought Greece twice in what is called the Persian Wars. All right, so Persia became an empire under Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great won independence for Persia from a group of people called the Medes. This marked the beginning of the Persian Empire. Cyrus conquered many people, but he always allowed them to keep their own customs and their own beliefs. He felt that this kept the people from rebelling against his strong empire. You're going to come back and watch this video. And here you will see the Persian Empire under Cyrus. This is around 559 BC. So BCE, before Common Era. All of this that you see in this dark purple would have been at that time. And then all of this would be added to it that you see in the lavender color. This would be from 559 to 530 BC. Remember, we're still counting down to 0. And then after Cyrus, we have Cambyses. He would have conquered this light pink area for Persia from 530 to 522 BC. And then this dark pink area would have been conquered by Darius from 521 to 486 BC. And this green line that you see is the royal road with, of course, capitals. We'll talk about that in a second. So the Persian army was composed of what they called immortals. Now, that doesn't have the same meaning that we give to it today. Today, immortals mean, you live forever. To the Persian army, these were about 10,000 soldiers that were chosen for their bravery and their skill. Okay, so they were brave and they were skillful, and called the immortals. The army also had a cavalry. We know that that's a unit of soldiers who rode horses. And Cyrus used the cavalry to charge at and shoot enemies with arrows. This army was strong because it was well organized and it was loyal. Together, the components of the army could defeat almost any enemy. So very strong. Well, after Cyrus, we had Cambyses. And we don't talk a whole lot about him. So within 4 years of Cambyses' death, we have a young prince named Darius the First who claimed the throne. Now, he wasn't as nice, we'll say, as Cyrus. He killed all of his rivals for power, like to get to the throne. And then he worked to restore order in Persia, which under Cambyses' rule the Persian Empire had kind of fallen into disarray, so to speak. So Darius the First is given credit for bringing the Persian Empire kind of back together and unifying them. Darius organized the empire into 20 provinces. Each province was led by a governor, which they called a satrap. And they were responsible for collecting taxes, they served as judges, and they would squash rebellions. He built many roads that connected various parts of the empire. He also built a new capital and called it Persepolis. And also during his rule, there was a new religion that arose. It was called Zoroastrianism, I think. Zoroastrianism. I always get that word wrong. Anyway, we'll call it Zorro. This religion taught that two forces were fighting in the universe. In other words, you had a good force and you had an evil force, and they were always fighting against each other. Darius expanded the empire by conquering the entire Indus Valley. So this shows the Emperor Darius here, sitting on the throne. He's meeting with an officer of his empire. We know now that Darius restored order to the Persian Empire and then expanded it through the Indus region. His army included royal guards, which you see here. So Darius was angry because the Greeks had aided a revolt against the Persians. So he decided that he was going to invade Greece in a series of battles, and these battles are going to be called the Persian Wars. Greece won these battles, though, because Greece had better weapons and more clever leaders. And then here we have a second invasion of Greece, and this is many years later under a ruler called Xerxes I. So Xerxes I tried to conquer Greece again. This time he was joined by the Persian navy. The Spartans slowed the Persian army at Thermopylae. This gave Greece enough time to gain the upper hand and eventually beat the Persians at Plataea, which ended the Persian Wars. So this is the end of Lesson 9.1. We're going to view the graphic slide on the next slide. And then you need to come back and watch the video or videos on the following two slides. So here is the graphic. It's a depiction of the Persian Wars and what happened. All that you see in green is the Persian Empire. All that you see in purple, those are the rebellious Greek city-states. All of this in gold are the Greek city-states allied against the Persians. And all of this in this kind of orangish color, these were neutral. And some of them were pro-Persian city-states. So all these little red bomb sites that you see, these were Greek victories. And here's your lonesome blue Persian victory. The red line, that would be Darius's fleet. The blue line, Xerxes, that'd be the army. And then this purple line would also be Xerxes' fleet. We have the Battle of Marathon and the Battle of Salamis. So the next video that you're going to come back and watch is about, it's so funny, on the Battle of Marathon. And then you're going to come back and, I thought there were two videos. Okay. So when you come back, I'll have the second video posted. And if it's not there, don't worry about it. And then the next time we meet up, we will deal with Sparta and Athens.